Jake Paul is not happy with Nate Diaz's lack of promotion for their boxing match. He says that he hopes to sell 400 to 500,000 pay-per-view buys. Speaking to MMA Junkie, Jake said, "That's what I wanted. That's why I signed up for this, is to give people a show and to squash this beef. He talked more to me before we signed up to fight. So he's kind of being a little in that sense. I expected more out of him, and I expected him to carry that gangster attitude and to not take my insults. But he's pretty much rolled over like a and has been quite boring, which pisses me off. But I'm used to carrying these promotions. It's no different in this one. I think it's going to surprise everyone. This is the most amount of interest we've had in terms of ticket sales, live gate. They're pretty much all sold out. The highest average ticket prices for any of my fights. The first time my opponent had this much traction on social media in terms of the posts he's making about it. So I think it can exceed expectations. I would be happy with 400,000 or 500,000 pay-per-view buys. But I'm also coming off of selling 830,000 with Tommy Fury. So it could be even bigger. Nate Diaz is a bigger star than Tommy Fury. He has more experience in this game, has sold millions of pay-per-views throughout his career, so it could shock us all. Michael Bisping and Anthony Smith on the Believe You Me podcast give their takes on the beef between Israel Adesanya and Dricus du Plessis. Neither of them enjoyed Izzy going into the octagon, or how this whole feud is about race.
I think Izzy was shocked because he didn't expect this. He thought in his mind, Robert Whittaker's going to beat him. And then I'm going to get to beat Robert Whittaker once again, because I know I can do that. I've beaten him twice. I finished him the first time. Second one was close, but I can do better. And I've done better before, so I will. Dricus, and then to see Dricus go out there and beat him the way that he did, all of a sudden he probably felt a threat. Obviously, they've already had the beef. They've been going back and forth. They've been talking. You could see he was kind of mad. He was angry. He probably indulging in Vegas a little bit, and rightly so. He's the champ. He hasn't got a fight right now.
I don't see an issue with it.
No.
It's just maybe not the best time to get a microphone stuck in front of you.
He's enjoying the festivities. He's probably, well, I could see him. He had a cocktail in his hand on several occasions. So, he's enjoying the fights like a human being. Okay. And then he goes in there. I didn't like it because, listen, he can say whatever he wants. And it is the fight game and people say nasty things to one another. But Dricus du Plessis was born there. Now I know you can start picking it apart and saying this and saying that and saying the other. There's a little bit of double standards there. If a white guy was saying that someone that was born in England came from Africa, wasn't English because they're black,
right? I
think that would be a big controversy. But regardless, it is the fight game. You know what I mean? And
I didn't like him saying the N-word a bunch of times, like on the broadcast. I
didn't like that either.
And I don't like.
I think everyone should just steer away. White people definitely.
For sure, white people. I'm telling you right now. Don't say that word.
I will never say it. It's not part of my vocabulary.
I don't say it either.
That was why he was saying that, because I think his point was saying, and again, I know nothing about this and I've got no right to be giving an opinion on this. As an English man living in California, I know nothing about this. But I think what he was saying was, because it is a word that is still, shall we say, for want of a better choice, allowed to be used. It's people say it in the black communities, you know what I mean? Sure. And I think that was his point. Saying, I'm African. Africans are black. I'm saying this word to you right now because you can't say it because you're not African. And maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's what he was trying to do.
We're with a bunch of adults, we're in a bar and we're having a conversation, or you're even having a tiff with someone. You guys are getting an altercation in a casino in Vegas. Say it as much as you want. Same thing. My kids were sitting there watching it too, and it's like, oh, come on, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not a prude or anything, but I don't know.
Chael Sonnen warns Conor McGregor that Israel Adesanya is coming for the top spot. Speaking to Ariel Helwani, Chael said there's a different game being played here by Izzy. You want to know who should be watching this? It's not du Plessis, and it's not the rest of the division. It's Conor McGregor. Izzy's coming for his spot. Izzy is coming for the top draw in the sport, and he's not that far away. By the way, he truly made that program for me. What Adesanya did, that show's not the same. I was at a bare knuckle show about 2 months ago, and Conor McGregor showed up, and it was a massive deal from the perspective of entertainment, from having something to look forward to that you weren't promised and wasn't on the marquee. The presence of Conor was greatly felt, and it was discussed in the media long after. That's why I bring the example of Conor and Adesanya, because now I'm seeing that Izzy can play that same game, and he can play it very powerfully. John McCarthy and Josh Thomson do not believe Kevin Lee will stay retired from MMA. They both think Kevin is too young and still has more money to make off of fighting. They give him a few years until he's back.
But I look at that fight. I look at some other past fight. I'm like, he had high expectations. People had high expectations for him.
Yeah.
And shortly after that, it wasn't able to pan out. It just didn't live up to it. I mean, he had great moments in a lot of great fights. But sadly, he came out on the losing end on some of those big ones. And so then he went away, tried to reinvent himself, and then came back and, gave it another go. But you know what? I think for some reason, what is he, 29? I think he's still young.
He's 30.
He's 30. So I would give him, I bet you he'll walk away for a year.
Give him a couple years.
Yeah. I think he'll be back before he's 32. Right before he turns 32, I think he'll be back. Maybe
Right
I don't
now
think
he's
he'll be
disappointed.
back. Yeah, I don't think he'll be back in the UFC, but I think he'll be back. Whether he goes to PFL, whether he goes to one, I don't know, but whatever promotions are around at that time, we'll see. But I don't think he's done yet. I think there's still money on the table for him to be had, and I think he's going to capitalize on that. Just not right now. Give him some time to get his focus back and sort some things out and reinvent himself a little bit. Probably he won't stop training. He won't stop training. He'll take a little bit of a break. Maybe 3 months, 4 months off. But he'll get back in the gym. It's hard to walk away from the gym, man. It's hard to walk away from your friends in the gym.
Where all your friends are.
Yeah. It's everyone that you've known for, like you said, for the last 12 years. It's everybody you know. It's that those have been your mainstay friends. Every day you walk in the gym and you see them. Every day you walk in and you guys go have lunch. Every day, like you're joking around in the locker room, whatever it is. On the mats or in the cage or in the locker room or at lunch, whatever it is, you guys, those have been your closest friends. So it's hard to walk away from that. So I think at 30 years old, he'll be back.
I would tend to think that you're right about that. But if he doesn't, this is the thing about, because the one thing about Kevin Lee is, yes, he had some losses to people, but usually those were big name people.
Jon Jones was out partying with Alexander Volkanovski and Leon Edwards. Jon made fun of Volk's shadow boxing dance moves. Jon and Volk also discussed being pound for pound number one.
So we're tied. We're tied. Who goes next?
And that's going to wrap it up for the news. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe to Full Mount MMA and click the bell icon to be notified when we post future ones. Here are the 3 top comments from last video. The first one's from William. It says Jamal and Yuri achieved one of the most difficult things ever, and neither of them even got to profit off of that champ money. The second one's from Cameron Scott. It says Jamal and Yuri are admirable dudes. Mad respect for both. I hope they both come back soon and are even better than they were before. And the final one's from James. It says, honestly, I'm so happy for Francis. He was one of the fighters I felt the UFC disrespected the most. He will get paid at least $25 million for the Fury fight. Those were the 3 top comments from last video. If you want to be featured on the next one, all you have to do is comment down below. If you missed yesterday's news, click the video on screen to get caught up. And make sure to go subscribe to our second channel where we post our exclusive MMA interviews.